Clayton Moore, born Jack Carlton Moore on September 14, 1914 in Chicago, grew up with a natural flair for physical performance and showmanship that hinted at the remarkable life ahead of him. As a young man, he joined a trapeze troupe known as the Flying Bears, where he developed the agility, strength, and discipline that would later define his on-screen presence. Those early years in the circus were more than youthful adventure. They shaped his work ethic and fearlessness, traits that would serve him well when he transitioned into Hollywood during the 1930s. Like many aspiring actors of the era, Moore began humbly, taking small roles and stunt work in low-budget westerns and serials. He wasn't yet famous, but casting directors quickly noticed his reliability and athletic build, which made him ideal for demanding physical scenes. Slowly but steadily, he carved out a reputation as a dependable performer who could be trusted to deliver convincing action and a commanding presence. Becoming television's masked legend, everything changed for Moore in 1949, when he was cast as the lead in the television series The Lone Ranger, an adaptation of the beloved radio program. With his resonant voice, striking features, and unmistakable authority, Moore brought the masked Texas lawman to life in a way that instantly resonated with audiences. Riding his white stallion Silver and fighting injustice alongside his loyal companion Tonto, the character became a cultural icon. Moore's portrayal didn't just entertain, it helped define what heroism looked like on early television. Catchphrases like, "Hi-yo, Silver, away," echoed across living rooms nationwide, embedding themselves into American pop culture. Although contract disputes briefly led to his replacement in 1952, Moore returned to the role in 1954 to widespread acclaim, reaffirming that he was, in the eyes of viewers, the true embodiment of the Lone Ranger. A partnership that defined an era. Central to the show's success was Moore's chemistry with Jay Silverheels, who portrayed Tonto. Silverheels, a Mohawk actor from Canada's Six Nations Reserve, brought dignity, intelligence, and quiet strength to a role that might otherwise have been reduced to stereotype. Together, the two actors formed one of television's most memorable partnerships. Their performances extended beyond television into feature films, including The Lone Ranger and The Lone Ranger and The Lost City of Gold, which expanded the characters' adventures and gave audiences a chance to see the duo on the big screen. These films added moral themes and social commentary to the traditional Western format, and Moore remained unwavering in his commitment to portraying the Lone Ranger as a symbol of fairness and integrity. Roles beyond the mask. Though best known for one role, Moore was far from limited in his abilities. During breaks from the series, he appeared in other television westerns, such as The Adventures of Kit Carson and The Range Rider, where he demonstrated his versatility as an actor. Even when he wasn't wearing the black mask, audiences still saw traces of the Lone Ranger in his posture, voice, and demeanor. His natural charisma made it nearly impossible for viewers to separate the man from the legend, a testament both to his performance and to the character's cultural impact. Rather than resist that association, Moore embraced it, understanding that he had become part of something larger than himself, living the legend in real life. After the series ended, Moore did something almost unheard of. He continued to appear publicly in full costume as the Lone Ranger for decades. Whether at parades, hospitals, charity events, or community gatherings, he remained devoted to representing the character's ideals. To him, the Lone Ranger wasn't just a role, it was a moral identity he felt responsible for upholding. Children who met him didn't see an actor. They saw a hero. Adults admired his dedication to staying true to the image that had inspired them in their youth. This lifelong commitment turned Moore into a living symbol of justice and integrity, blurring the line between fiction and reality in a way few performers ever achieve. A move toward a quieter life. In 1964, seeking stability and family closeness, Moore relocated with his wife and daughter to Golden Valley, near Minneapolis. The move marked a major shift from Hollywood's fast pace to suburban calm. Rather than retire completely, he reinvented himself as a businessman, earning a real estate license and founding a company called Ranger Realty. His work contributed to local development projects and earned him respect among colleagues who knew him not as a television star, but as a straightforward professional. It was another example of Moore's adaptability and determination, qualities that had defined him since his trapeze days: friendship, respect, and silence. For much of his life, Moore rarely spoke publicly about his relationship with Silverheels, preferring privacy over publicity. Fans often speculated about the nature of their off-screen bond, wondering whether the warmth seen on television reflected a deeper friendship. When Moore finally addressed the subject in a later interview, his words were thoughtful and sincere. He described Silverheels as a man of dignity, humor, and immense inner strength, praising the authenticity he brought to Tonto. Moore admitted that during the show's demanding production schedule, both men had been so focused on their work that they had little time to socialize. Still, he emphasized that mutual respect always existed between them. He also expressed regret that Hollywood had not offered Silverheels more diverse opportunities, acknowledging the limitations native actors faced at the time. The famous roadside story. One of the most beloved anecdotes connected to Moore's later life was popularized by comedian Jay Thomas on The Late Show with David Letterman. According to Thomas, he once gave Moore a ride after a promotional appearance. When another driver struck their car and tried to deny responsibility, Moore stepped out, still in full Lone Ranger costume, and calmly declared, "They'll believe me, citizen." The stunned driver immediately changed his tune. Whether embellished or perfectly accurate, the story captured something essential about Moore. He understood the power of the image he carried and used it with humor and grace. Final years and passing. Moore spent his later years in peaceful semi-retirement in Calabasas. On December 28, 1999, he suffered a heart attack at home and was taken to a hospital in West Hills, where he passed away at age 85. He was survived by his wife, Clarita, and his adopted daughter, Dawn, who has since helped preserve his legacy through interviews and appearances. Moore's death marked the end of an era, yet his influence never truly faded. Generations who grew up watching him still remembered the thrill of seeing that masked figure ride across their screens, representing courage and fairness. A lasting resting place and legacy, Moore was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, a cemetery known for being the final resting place of many classic Hollywood figures. Fans continue to visit his grave, often leaving flowers or small tokens shaped like the Lone Ranger's mask. These quiet tributes speak volumes about the connection he forged with audiences. Moore didn't just portray a hero, he became one in the public imagination. His life stands as a rare example of an actor whose personal conduct reflected the virtues of his most famous role. In honoring Silverheels later in life, Moore also showed humility and gratitude, proving that behind the mask was a man who valued loyalty, fairness, and respect just as deeply as the character he played.